All right, chat. So we going into multiplayer actually. Going to join my boy. I'm military.
Face-off domination. Capture the objective. Taking Alpha. Securing Charlie.
You just made a final mistake!
Securing C. Losing Bravo. Bravo.
Stop.
Locking down Charlie. Locking down Bravo. They're taking C. Taking A. Taking C. Losing B. Control zone C. Lost B.
You just made a fatal mistake.
We're losing Charlie. Securing Alpha.
You just made a fatal mistake.
They're taking C.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Taking B.
Incoming tactical. Do you think that's funny?
We're losing Charlie. Taking Bravo underway.
You just made a fatal mistake.
All zones lost. Securing Charlie. Securing
You just
zone
made
A.
a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
Zone C secure. They're taking C.
Enemies destroyed the trophy system.
Taking Alpha.
Sending Semtex.
Bravo zone secure. Looking C.
You just made a fatal mistake.
All zones are being locked down.
Bringing trophy online.
You just made a
Losing
fatal
Bravo.
mistake.
Zone Charlie locked down.
You just made a fatal mistake. Do you find it amusing? You just made a fatal mistake.
Bravo locked.
You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
We're losing Charlie. Securing B.
Also using assault pack.
They're taking C. We locked down. Securing Alpha.
Do you find it amusing?
Losing B.
You just made a fatal mistake.
We lost B. We've locked down A.
You just...
We're losing Alpha.
You just made a fatal mistake. Mover in.
Taking B. Losing A.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Locking down Bravo. We've lost Alpha. We're losing Charlie. Securing B. Taking Bravo underway. They're taking C. We lost all zones. Bravo is ours. Locking down Charlie.
Trophy system was eliminated.
Taking C.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Securing C. Charlie secured. We're losing Charlie. Securing Zone A.
You just made a fatal mistake.
They're taking C. Taking A. Losing Bravo. We've lost Charlie. Taking C. All zones lost. Locking down Charlie. Control zone C.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Locking down Bravo.
You just made a fatal
We're
mistake.
losing Charlie. Taking B. B locked down.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Net call. Sleeper agent detected. They're taking C. Losing B.
You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
Losing Bravo.
I was totally acting in self-defense. Totally.
You just made a fatal mistake. Do you find it amusing?
Taking Bravo
You
underway.
just made a fatal mistake.
Securing B. B secured.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Losing B.
You just made a fatal
Bravo.
mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
Taking Bravo underway.
Move up. Marking it down.
You just made a fatal mistake.
We're losing Charlie. They're taking C.
You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
Securing Zone A. We're losing Charlie.
You just made a fatal mistake.
Locking down Bravo. Securing B. They're taking C. Bravo zone secure. Taking A. Lost C.
Objective control.
Securing C. Zone Alpha captured. Location secure. Maintain current posture. Losing B. We're losing Charlie. Losing Bravo. Bravo lost. They're taking C.
You just made a
Charlie.
fatal mistake.
Securing Charlie.
You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake. You just made a fatal mistake.
positions. Lost A. Losing B. Securing Alpha. Zone A secure. We lost B. Taking B. Taking Bravo underway. You're being outplayed, Crimson. Step it up. B secured. We're losing Alpha.
Totally acting in self-defense.
Losing Bravo.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Losing B.
You just made a fatal mistake! You just made a
Bravo lost. Damn it, Crimson, that's not good enough.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Face-off domination. Secure the objective. Locking down Bravo.
You just made a fatal mistake!
We locked down. Securing Charlie. We're winning. Keep it up. Zone C secure. Losing A. We're losing Charlie. We're losing Alpha.
Get on your feet.
Losing Bravo.
Hostile spotted. Molotov inbound.
We lost B. Securing B. Taking Alpha. Taking A. They're taking C.
Friendly. Hostiles are resupplying. Hostiles!
We're losing Charlie. They're taking B. Taking B. Taking Bravo underway. We're losing Charlie.
Concussion grenade. You just made a final mistake. You just made a final mistake. You just made a final mistake.
They're taking C. Taking Alpha. Lost C. Securing C. Losing B. Locking down Charlie. Zone Charlie locked down. Securing Zone A. Securing Alpha. Taking Alpha. Losing Bravo. All objectives locked down. Hold the enemy back. Losing A. We're losing Charlie. We've lost Alpha. They're taking C.
Is out of ammunition.
We're losing Charlie.
You just made a final mistake.
They're taking C. We've lost Charlie. Taking C.
You just made a final mistake.
Securing Alpha. Securing Charlie. Charlie secured. Securing Zone A. Losing B.
You just made a final
Taking A.
mistake. You just made a final mistake.
Securing Zone A. We're losing Charlie. Taking Alpha. They're taking C.
Semtex front.
We're losing Charlie. Losing Bravo. Taking A. Locking down Bravo.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Securing Alpha. Bravo is ours. Taking Alpha. They're taking C.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Losing B. We're losing Charlie.
Please don't stop.
Securing Alpha. Securing Zone A. They're taking C.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Losing Bravo.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Losing B.
You just made a fatal mistake! You just made a fatal mistake! You
Losing
just made a
Bravo.
fatal mistake! You just made a fatal mistake!
We lost B. Taking A.
You just made a fatal mistake!
We're losing Charlie. Taking Alpha. Securing B. You're dead. Securing Alpha. Securing Zone A. Taking B.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Taking Bravo underway. Taking A. We're losing Alpha. Locking down Bravo. All locations locked down. Dig in and hold them. They're taking C. Bravo. Taking Alpha. Zone Charlie locked down. Alpha secure. Losing A. Securing B. We lost A.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Taking B.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Taking A. Securing B. We're losing Charlie. Zone A secure. Locking down Bravo. We're losing Alpha. All locations secured. Hold your position. Charlie. Losing A. Knocking down Charlie. We're losing Alpha. Losing B.
You just
Taking
made
C.
a fatal mistake!
Losing Bravo. Losing B. Bravo lost. secure.
You just made a fatal mistake! You
Losing
just made
A.
a fatal mistake!
Securing C. We're losing Alpha. Locking down Charlie.
You just made a fatal mistake! You just made a fatal mistake! You just made a fatal mistake!
Securing Charlie. Losing B. Taking C. They're right where we want them. Finish the job. Securing C.
You just made a fatal mistake!
Locking down Charlie. Securing Charlie.
You just made a fatal
All
mistake!
locations locked down. Dig in and hold them. All units prepare for exfil. This one's ours.
Mine!
All right, chat. That's it. Like the content, like and subscribe. Y'all see that event done? We done. So y'all ain't about to see the rest of this.